What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another portfolio update. So we have had a bit of a quiet week. There hasn't really been much news going on. We have had Trump, just issuing his demands for the European Union in terms of tariffs. He wants 50% tariffs because he doesn't really like the European Union. So yeah, there's still a lot of uncertainty to see how that's going to play out. So we have seen that the market is down 3.81% over the past week. But if we go into Tesla and we look over the past week, it's basically flat, minus 2.9%. And a lot of this will be down to we're just round the corner from, Robotaxi operating in June. So, it is starting out very small with about 10 vehicles. So the revenues won't be there. But the important part is not the revenues, it's the proof of concept. Because once they get, out and rolling, Tesla does have the best method to fast adoption, to fast scaling in terms of vehicles out on the road. They produce the vehicles a lot cheaper than the likes of Waymo, which the cost of that put one of those vehicles out on roads is over $100,000. For Tesla, it's like 30 something $1,000. So yeah, they can scale up a lot more, and not only can they scale up the amount of vehicles a lot easier, they can scale it to other parts of the US a lot easier, just because of that they're not geo-fenced into certain areas. Obviously, Elon has said that they are, when they are testing and having the initial rollout, they will geo-fence it just to make sure, just to be extra safe. But when the software continues to rapidly improve, they will just take off all geo-fencing. You can go anywhere you want in the whole country of the US. So yes, I'm really bullish for Tesla. So what's that mean for my portfolio? Well, my portfolio is pretty much unchanged. It's slightly down. Obviously, we're down 2.9%, 2.91%. I was at last week, I was 104,000, and now it's 102,000. Some of that is the FX. It's a big part of that is the FX. I did buy 2 more shares. I'm currently at 409 shares in this account. I've got another 105 in my general investment account. So yeah, my current value in this account, 102,470, at an average price of $252 a share, or £194, and I'm up 28.53%. So what does that mean for my other positions? So I do still own my 1 share of Nvidia, thanks to you guys. It wasn't last video; it's the video before. I was like saying, okay, what share should I buy? Nvidia, we have had a pullback in Nvidia over the past week, minus 3.3%. So I'm only up 8% on Nvidia. I will continue to add to this position. Obviously, I do want to get my Tesla position to 450 shares in this account. Once I'm there, I will continue to. Well, I will add to our positions. Before I get to 450. I will add some Nvidia. I'm looking at buying some Google. Palantir, that was the second most liked comment in my video. But the problem is, if you look at Palantir, I'd have loved to have bought, when it did drop to like the 70s, 80s. Obviously, I was still massively buying Tesla in that price because, just like Palantir, it had a massive drop off. So yeah, I would have loved to have owned some Palantir. I might still buy some Palantir, but I do have to be careful due to like just being massive, very expensive. If you go into my portfolio, if you go into the value of my portfolio, we can see, £102,000. Over the past year, I'm up £33,000. Obviously, that includes new money going in. Rate of return 56.8% over the 1 year. On the max, I'm up 47.0%. I have put in just about £85,000. This is over, or this will be 6 tax years. So I haven't maxed out my ISA all of these years, but the past 4 years I've maxed it, and I'm hoping to max it this year. So that'll be just under like £100,000 net deposits. When I get there, I've got a little bit of cash sitting on the sideline, so I could buy another share of Nvidia. I might do that, or I might just buy some VUSA just to start. I do start want to building up my emergency fund. just because, if there was something to go wrong, I don't really have any capital that I can deploy. Obviously, I don't want to sell any of my Tesla position. I don't really want to sell Nvidia. So obviously, I do want to maybe buy some VUSA and just build that position. And if I need an emergency fund, obviously, is most people recommend having an emergency fund in just in cash, and obviously I'd recommend that. Obviously, nothing in this video should be taken as financial advice, but obviously I'm still living at home with my parents, so it's not like I have a direct need for it per se, but it's just something nice to have. So I'm kind of in that middle ground where I'll put my emergency fund in the S&P 500, whereas if it's down 10%, it's like it's not going to be the end of the world, because I'm only going to have like 10 grand in there. So the worst case scenario, if I need to pull it out for an emergency, I'm down a grand, which is a lot of money to a lot of people. But when I'm looking at my whole portfolio as a whole, and I'm looking at ratios, it's a very small part of my portfolio, because by the time I build up 10 grand in my across my whole portfolio, my portfolio might be 200 grand. So yeah, again, it's a very small part. It's like 5%, and then it's very small. Obviously, we are still massively below what the all-time high was in the account. I did reach a value of £141,000, and it did, but then it did drop all the way down to £66,000. And obviously, it's nice that we have seen some recovery back into the six figures. So yeah, I'm pretty chuffed about that. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please make sure to like, subscribe, and share with anyone else who might be interested. Anyway, that's it for me today, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.